Hi everybody and welcome to week 3 of the Sophos XG Firewall Academy. My name is Jade and I'm the Event Marketing Manager here at Sophos and will be your host for today's session. For those who are with us now, we'll be starting in a few moments just as a few more people are joining us. Again, we'll be starting in the next 2 to 3 minutes. Thank you. Hi and welcome back to today's session, which is the 8th out of our 9 technical educational webinars for the Sophos XG Firewall Academy. Before we start today's session, I'd like to go over a couple of housekeeping points for you to support the webinar. All attendees will be on mute for the duration of the session. However, please feel to post question and answers via the panel, which will be located on your right-hand side of your screen. Join us for today's session. We have our dedicated Sophos experts who will be answering your questions while you're watching today's session, Getting the Most from XG, Managing Your XG Estate. After the video, we'll be addressing the most relevant question live with Luca. And finally, this session is being recorded and will be made available to all registrants within 24 hours. And finally, for those who are asking about training vouchers, all training vouchers for those who attended 4 or more live sessions will be made available within 1 to 2 weeks after the webinar series has ended. All recipients will receive their unique training voucher on an email to them directly with the email they have registered with today. So without further ado, wishing you all a nice informative session. Don't forget to ask lots of questions and enjoy.
Hello and welcome to the Sophos XG Academy 2021. My name is Luca Christmann. I'm a sales engineer from Sophos Germany and I will be your host for today's session C8, Managing Your XG Estates. I prepared a lot of content, so let's get started. Just a short recap what we are doing today. We are basically talking in short about the firewall management at its own and basically both products in Central and what Central actually is and how to manage your firewalls within Central and how to use those products in Central. There's a lot of new stuff for you, so I will get started into it. Most likely you are already familiar with the XG firewall management. So you have your local web admin, like here in this example on the screenshot, and you can manage your firewalls within the local web admin and completing all your tasks and your daily businesses within the web admin. But there's another way to manage your whole XGs and multiple XGs at once. And this is called the central admin. And within central admin, we are able to managing each and every one of those firewalls which we already included into the XG firewall and into the central firewall management. How to do this and what we actually have to do to have those features into central admin, this will be answered today in today's session. So let's get started with a short recap over central firewall management and what central is actually in terms of firewall management and in terms of Sophos as a brand. We have Software Central here in the middle, in between all of our products. So basically, if you are a customer and you have Sophos XG firewalls, you can use Software Central for free. Or you are actually an Intercept X customer with EDR, or you are an MTR customer, or you use Sophos Email, for example. You are already using Sophos Central as a management platform. And this is the whole story behind the management platforms within Central. It's our complete cybersecurity made simple solution to manage all of our products within our cloud-based solution. So keep in mind, if you are using one of those products shown here, for example, Software Mobile or Fish Thread or device encryption, you're already a Software Central customer and can use and expand those possibilities and those management platforms to use this for your XG firewall. Most likely you're already familiar with the Sophos Central management. For those of you who are not, just a quick recap about Central Admin. The central admin or central dashboard called is our management platform to manage most likely every and each product within the world of Sophos. So basically, if you are an endpoint customer, wireless customer, mobile customer, and so on, you are using Central to manage those products. There are certain other points about Central which I just want to recap quickly, and that's the user portal and the management service portal. So if your Sophos partner is wanting to manage you, or you are an MSP customer, or you are an MSP partner, you are able to use a platform flying above the whole central world and able to manage all your central customers within the management platform. And there's also a solution for the users to interact with central. So basically, if you have an email account within Central, you can use the user portal to let your users manage their own quarantines or manage their own emergency inboxes, for example. There's also a solution if you are an enterprise customer. So basically, if you want to manage multiple central accounts, you can use the enterprise dashboard. It's called our enterprise solution. So if you have multiple central accounts and you want to manage those within one dashboard, you can use this as well. Just a quick recap, if you want to know more about Central, you should interact with us in more detail, because we have a Central Academy also in place with some recaps about what actually Central is and what we have to do there to get started. But this is a quite important story to understand before we can start with the XG firewall management within Central. So what is central firewall management? As we learned, it's a part of the whole Central story. So you are a customer within Sophos Central, and you can use a small product called a Central Firewall Manager for free to manage all your firewalls. And this is a quite bulky solution to use everything within Central. So you can do something like the health and the monitor checks. You can also firmware upgrade all your XG firewall at the same time, or scheduled if you want to upgrade all your firewalls at once in the night, you can do this and schedule this via Central Firewall Management. Or you can also view and audit all your changes. If somebody of your administrator changed something on the firewall, you can see this actually in Central. And you can also benefit from other technologies like zero touch deployment, or the central firewall reporting. We will take a look at this in a deeper level on a short live demo. But first, what do I have to do on the XG firewall to interact and include this one with Central? It's quite easy. If you take a look at this screenshot, you are seeing an XG Firewall local web admin, and there's a point called central synchronization. This is a firewall now not registered with central at all, so you can actually see it here written on the screen. You are not registered with Sophos Central, and the only part which I have to do on my XG firewall is to press register, put my central credentials into it, so basically my email address and my password for central. If you don't know, or if you don't have a central account, XG Firewall is giving you the option here to create a new central account. And if you have done this step, it's actually finished. So you have created the link between the XG Firewall and the Sophos Central platform, and now you are able to manage your whole XG firewalls. You can opt in or opt out if you want for the reporting and the Sophos management, and also the backup management if you don't want to use those features. Let's take a quick look into the whole live demo, for example. So we are now in the Sophos Central admin, and we are seeing the whole dashboard here. I have all products registered in Sophos Central, and we are able to see the whole alert section for all products right now. Those are split up into high and medium and low alerts. And if I press onto alerts in Central Admin, I'm able to see all alerts of all products. Here, basically, most likely all the firewall alerts, and I'm able to see and filter what's actually going on in my environment. But I'm now going to the firewall management section, and it's split up into all sections which is important for the firewall. We are now going to the firewall overview, and I'm seeing two groups here. One group is called ungroup, so basically non-group, and there's a group created SD1. And if I expanding this one, I've seen three other groups which stores different kind of firewalls. So I'm able to see four different firewalls within this group called Internet, BO, and HQ, and they are all synchronized and all listed online on this environment. I'm able to see where they are online, I'm seeing the serial numbers, and I'm able to expand this group and manage this group as well. So we are now we are later looking at the policy management, but first of all, let's take a look at the firmware upgrades. This is right now not possible as those firewalls are up to date, but if there is a new firewall firmware upgrade, I can do this here. Let's take a brief look into the management part. So basically the configuration pushing. If I'm pressing on managed policies, I'm able to jump through central through the management section. And here I'm able to configure all the desired configuration steps within Central. It looks like an XG file, but it's actually not. It's a platform within Central, and I'm able to configure everything here to be able to push it directly to the firewalls. I'm now adding a new host into my hosts and services called XG Academy, and will push this while we are talking to all my firewalls at the same time. So this new object will be saved. And on the top screen, I'm seeing that this will be synchronized to all devices while we are talking actually. So now I'm going to the task queue, which is basically, like the name suggests, queue which shows all the informations which will be pushed to all the XG firewalls. So here we are now seeing our new jobs. It's a object host, IP host, and it's getting pushed to all the four firewalls which we saw recently. At the same time, it's already completed on 2 of 4 firewalls. And if I'm expanding this one, I can see the successful job, and also can expand this one and see the whole XML inputs which got through the firewall on the firewall and will be deployed directly. This is a quite nice way to interact with multiple firewalls. Also, there is a backup management part within Central Management. So I'm able to store all the backups within Central in the secure manner. So we are seeing here that the firewall will store every 7 days, so weekly, on a weekly basis, a new backup, and we are able to download this backup with a new backup encryption password if needed. And I'm going now to the firewall section and show you guys the options to jump to the firewall via SSO access. So basically, if I'm pressing on the name of the XG firewall here, I'm able to jump through Central, through your browser, directly to the local web admin and administrate the firewall as a failover or an emergency access directly the firewall. This can take up to round about 15 seconds if we are not lucky. But now we are actually loading the web admin and we are on the local web admin on the firewall within the XG firewall without needing to have some sort of VPN, any NAT or something like that. We can go through the whole NAT environments on every and each firewall which is managed in Central. And now, just to prove you the object was created under hosts and services, we are able to see on the second page that there's an object created XG Academy called XG Academy with the IP address 1234 as we created this one. There's also a banner on the top of the firewall which clearly indicates this firewall is managed by Central, so please don't change something on the local firewall which can result in issues. By going back to Central, we are actually back in the Central console and can redo some other steps if needed. Let's take a quick look at Central Firewall Reporting. There's another product called Central Firewall Reporting, which is actually kind of strong in their flexibility with the reporting in the cloud. So basically, it's a product which you can use and subscribe to manage all your reports and your logs in Central. And this is a quite strong product for bigger environments or for environments which have to store logging informations for longer periods of time or to have rather complicated reports, for example. Because you can actually query multiple firewalls at the same time with the same query. For example, you want to dig deeper into a security breach, but you don't know actually on which firewall this occurs. So you can query all your firewalls at the same time and check if the actual attacker was on each firewall or only on one firewall and so on. There are different use cases, so let's get started into a short live demo what's actually happening on Central Firewall Reporting. As you can see, we are back into the firewall management dashboard and there is a section called Reporting Hub and Report Generator. This is the whole topic behind the whole CFR part. So under Reporting Hub, we are able to select one of our firewalls and we are able to see three different pillars. One is network, one is security, and one is policy. So basically, one shows all the status into the firewall itself. One is the security pillar about the whole attacks and so on. And one is the policy pillar, which is something you don't want into your environment or something you actually want to have in your environment. Those are all widgets which are selectable. So basically, if you click on one of those widgets, it will show a short review report on the bottom, which we see here actually get generated while we are talking. And this section is actually an overview over the whole pillars and all the firewalls you are actually want to see. So basically I'm pressing here memory and now the memory consumption and usage will be shown and loaded below and we can see how much memory our appliance was used in the last minutes. The same kind can be used for other indicators. And this is actually a quite strong profile and tool to use for your management platform and for your reporting platform. But let's dig deeper into the reporting generator, because this is one of the most powerful tools within Central. It's actually a reporting section which can result into different categories. So we have a reporting template section here on the left side, which builds different sections of reports. We have also a graphic report section, and we have a table section, which shows all the tables of our reporting data. It looks rather small and simple, but there's a lot of power behind those features, because we have some reporting templates built in. Those are those smaller sections with the Sophos S in front of it. These are built-in reports, but we have also the possibility to save templates. I will show you this later. But let's jump into a bandwidth usage report and look into the bandwidth usage right now. We are seeing some rather normal reporting usage right now, so security layer, protocol, and so on. And we're seeing the latest 7 days. If I generate this whole report new for 7 days, it will fetch all the informations of the latest 7 days, and I'm able to see all the applications, the category, the risk, the bytes, and the hits of the latest 7 days with a graphical overview. Maybe this is not what I actually want to see, so I can switch to different graphic overviews. For example, the pie chart, which I'm selecting here, and as you can see, it gathered the same information and displayed this one into a different pie chart with a different approach. So what I want to see, I'm able to generate each and every time new. And there's actually no limit in display options. And one of the most strong reports is possible to build within minutes and seconds, because you can actually expand all the columns which we see here and select and deselect the whole report as you desire. So maybe you want to see which firewall rule actually generates traffic, which source IP. You don't need to see the categories of the applications, and you don't need to see the hits, for example, only the bytes, and press apply. And what's actually happening right now is that Central Firewall Reporting is generating a new report based on your criterias. And now I'm able to see all the applications, all the source IPs, and I'm able to see which firewall rule actually generate how much bytes used on those filter criterias. There's actually nearly no limits in use cases. For example, you can also switch from source IPs back to users if you like. So switching to users, we are seeing a different picture, because now we are moving to the user section and we are seeing which user generate which traffic. And if I press on one of those filters, it will actually filter in the query the whole report new. So now I'm looking at the latest 7 days and only for the user Luca at salesang.local. And now I'm able to see this user actually used 2 applications with 2 different firewall IDs, and how much traffic did this user use. And I can also generate a new different graphical report if I want to see how much data compared SSH to remote desktop is actually used. If I want to change one of the X or epsilon by axis, I can use this one and can say how much bytes is used per firewall. So basically I'm now seeing one firewall uses 880 kilobits in total of the firewall devices. So there's no limitation at all in all our reports. I already prepared one of those reports called SSL VPN. And as you can see, you see nothing, because in the latest 74 hours, there was no user connected via SSL VPN. So I'm moving to 30 days. And now I'm seeing one user is connected with a duration time overall of 1 day and 15 hours and a different source IP with 238 MB in total transferred. So I'm able to see with this quick review what my SSL VPN users actually doing in the last 30 days. I can also turn up to 365 days, and I'm able to export all those reports which we saw, and send them to my users or to my administrators if I want. So I'm able to see here the SSL VPN report, and there's actually a report scheduled already set. So I'm going to schedule. I'm telling my central reporting that I want to have this report with all my users of a weekly basis sent to my administrators, which is possible if I like. So I can say, please send me this report each 24 hours, and I want to see what's happening each and every 24 hours at once. This is rather a powerful tool to use if needed. It's important to understand that there is actually a quick way to get started into this whole new world of Sophos Central. So if you are not already a Sophos Central customer, so you don't have Intercept X, you don't have device encryption or other examples, you can create a new free trial for 30 days. What does this mean? This trial will generate all products within Sophos Central for 30 days. After expiration, you can still use all the Sophos XG Firewall features without any limitation. So keep this in mind. You can actually start a trial, use this whole section which we saw in the last 20 minutes, and you are not in any charge of any subscription for these features at all. If you want to connect your firewall to Sophos Central Admin, we saw what you have to do. Basically, you need your Sophos Central email address and your password, and you are ready to go. And as mentioned earlier, Sophos Central is completely free. And you are also having a free trial for 7 days data for central reporting. What does this mean? It's quite simple. If you have XG Firewall within Central, it will keep the latest 7 days of data for you for free all the time. So you can go back 7 days within Central and can look into the features of Sophos Central if you like. And if you want to have more capabilities and more storage, you can actually purchase a new Sophos Central license for central reporting and purchase the storage needed for your firewall. And that's all about managing your XG acetate. It's a rather quick session because there's a lot of content within it, and I would highly engage you to quickly look into those features because they are free and you can actually import all your firewalls within Sophos Central in a rather quick way. The next session, session 9, will be the future of XG Firewall, where our product management team will actually show you what's coming next on the horizon and what's the future of Sophos XG Firewall in total. Thanks for watching and thanks for listening for today's session. Have a nice day. Bye bye.
Great, and we now have Luca who's going to join us on for live Q&A. If Luca, if you're available to come off mute and pop the webcam on, and we can start with the questions that have been coming through.
Good morning. I hope you can see me.
Yes, we
Should
can.
be working perfectly
Yes,
well.
lovely. Thank you. I'm just going to make sure everyone can see on my screen. Perfect. So, first
Yes.
question, how can I extend the data reporting of Central?
Actually, right now we have a free version of 7 days rotating, so you can go back 7 days right now in central firewall reporting. Good question. If you want to have more data, you have actually to purchase a extended version of Sophos Central Reporting. You can find this one in the price list if you are a partner, or you can simply contact your partner and ask for a central firewall reporting license. There are sizing capabilities, so actually you are not purchasing something like I want 30 days, I want 60 days, I want 3 months, something like that. Instead, you are purchasing the size of gigabyte in central firewall reporting. So this would be the answer to this question. Good question.
Thank you for that. How do you calculate the needed space for CFR?
Okay, it's perfect follow-up question to my answer previously. Um, it's rather easy, to be honest, because we know how much data a normal appliance will generate. So if you take a XG210, for example, we know in general how much data this will generate and send to central within 30 days, within 60 days. There are some basic understanding of the data which we send to central right now. It's rather complicated to answer this one right now if you take a look at the certain setups within our customer deployments, because every and each customer uses different scenarios right now. One customer is using XG210 only for SSL decryption. The other customer uses all the different modules. So the size and the data amount which we send to central, or XG will send to central, can differ. So what you can do is there is the sizing tool on our website, which you can find quite easily if you check for central firewall reporting, and you can check the recommended size which we show the customer and the partner which he should purchase. If he has a XG 210 and he said, I want 1 year of data, how much should I purchase? And you can purchase this license, for example, for let's say 20 licenses and 20 blocks. And if you see that your data will exceed, because Central will show you how much data you have right now in your data lake, you can actually extend this one quite easily with your partner, or as a partner, you can extend this one if you need more space. So good question. It's a rather complicated answer because there is no generalization between each and every customer has the same needs for this one.
Thank you for that. Because you was touching based on the central accounts, can I change the data center of my central account?
Good question. It's a rather GDPR related question. Right now we have 3 data centers within Sophos. So if you create a Sophos Central account, you can choose between Germany, Ireland, and America. And the good answer, to be honest, is no, you cannot. So if you chose America, for example, in your initial creation process, it will be locked to America. This means we cannot, and Sophos cannot, move data between the data centers. They are completely separated and completely independent. So no data can actually get moved from Frankfurt to Ireland or vice versa. It's not possible. And this is one of the higher security standards which we resolve with Central, because we have the data of the customer in mind, and also the GDPR related data, that some customers have to store their data in certain countries. Some customers have to store their data in certain data centers. And we acknowledge this with this approach right now.
I saw some features in central reporting recently. Those are not in my central account. How can I unlock them or view these?
There are some features like email scheduling and something like that, which are attached to the advanced subscription. So if you purchase 100 gigabyte, 1 subscription, for example, it will unlock your account and give you more features also to the more data, which you can store more data into Central. So there are some certain features which are only for our advanced feature customers. So you have to purchase a subscription-based module and get the add-ons right now.
Thank you. Next step, I have MFA enabled on my Central account. Do I use this or disable this for joining the heartbeat for the central management?
Good question. This is rather a common question right now because we as Sophos always recommend to use MFA. So always use multi-factor authentication also for something important like central admin, because right now today is the password safe day. So everybody should remember and acknowledge their password right now. And if they use a password store right now or use the same password for everything, so please always use MFA, multi-factor authentication. It's also supported for Central, and you should use this for Central as well. If you use this, there are some questions about when I join my XG firewall to Central, there will be asked for a password and a Central account. You do not have to turn off anything like MFA or something like that, because Central and XG can communicate through this process without disabling MFA. So simply use your current password and your current email address, and Central will acknowledge that there's the XG coming right now without MFA and will generate tokens and certificates based on that input. Great question.
Great. Next up, can I access the XG firewall even behind a firewall or a router and a dynamic IP?
This is a great question for the smaller customers right now, because we have many customers using XG firewall behind a smaller ISP router or something like different firewalls, and there are two firewalls behind it. And yes, this is possible, and you do not have to configure anything right now, because the XG firewall will build up the connection to Central and use this channel to connect back to the XG firewall. So the XG is always building up the connection, and you can use as an administrator the whole process, even through other products, even through ISP, and you do not have to give Central the IP address of the XG firewall and something like that. So it's rather easy and simple to configure, and you do not have to remember anything like a dynamic DNS or something like a static IP. It's not needed, and you do not have to use a DNet, for example, or a destination net to get Central to your XG firewall. This is everything. This is all not needed right now, and will not need it in the future.
Fab. Next up, is CFR also available as an MSP add-on?
Good question, because MSP is right now the hot potato in the market. So everybody's talking about MSP. Everybody is looking at MSP and how Sophos is using MSP. And yes, this is possible. You can add CFR to your account as an MSP, and you can also sell the service of CFR to your customer if the customer is an MSP customer. There's a 25 gigabyte license right now. So if you have a MSP customer and this customer has a smaller appliance, you can give him a service of 25 gigabyte storage and extend this one as well indefinitely, as much space as you need. So this is actually right now possible if you want to extend the service level as a partner, or you are an MSP customer, want to extend your service agreement with your partner, you can do this with CFR. Yes.
Great, thank you. Next up, can I use central management for XG management with an XG firewall, i.e., so I just need a full guard license only?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yes, so can I use central management for XG management with an XG firewall, i.e., full guard license only?
You can do this, yes. So there's no attachment to the subscription based on the XG firewall. You can use a base license, you can use an enterprise card, you can use only a network protection on the XG side. There's no attachment whatsoever between the subscription of the XG and the central management, because central management is, as I put it in the webinar quite often, completely free. So if you have 100 firewalls, if you have one firewall, if you have two firewalls, it does not matter to Central right now. There is no license or anything attached to it. The only license which we have right now is CFR, so Central Firewall Reporting needs a license. If you want to extend this, the features of CFR and you want to extend the data storage, but you don't need any central firewall license on your XG firewall, and you don't need any particular license for the management of the XG firewall. There is, to be completely transparent, there is a little note. If you join your XG firewall and you do have only the base license, there's a little note in XG right now which says you need network protection and web protection. This is only based on the heartbeat, which is also available also available in Central right now. So you already saw discussion about Central and XG firewall with the heartbeat. The endpoint is communicating with the XG firewall, and this needs, of course, web and network protection license. But the management part, which is the third pillar in this web admin, does not need any license whatsoever. Great question.
Yeah, loads of really good questions coming through today. Next up, can firmware updates also be scheduled?
Yes, of course. You can schedule the firmware upgrades within Central, or you can also do it right now. And it's also possible to do it in a group. So for example, you have 5 firewalls in one central group. You can say that one firewall will upgrade tonight, or you can say that the whole group will upgrade tonight at a particular time frame. Personally, I'm not quite a fan of firmware upgrades which will be done while I'm sleeping, because right now I want to be attendant in every and each critical firmware upgrade. Right now it's a personal matter, not related to any of our products, but if I upgrade something, I want to be there if I can maybe interfere with something if something goes wrong, because in the end we all work in the IT department and in the IT business, and we know that everything can go wrong. So I want to be attending the firmware upgrade and I want to check if everything goes up and online back again. But if you want, you can also, as an MSP, for example, you have 100 firewalls and you want to upgrade all those firewalls in the night because you have one opportunity in one window, you can do this. Yes, this is possible. It's also possible to be completely transparent for HA systems. So if you have a high availability cluster and you connect this cluster to Central, you can also upgrade this cluster within one click. You can say, please upgrade tonight, please upgrade now, please upgrade in the next week. And you can do this if like you want all the time. Yes.
Great, thank you so much. Next, is a Sophos Central license required to purchase?
Not for central management. As I explained earlier, this is not needed at all. So you can use a free XG version. There is a free XG version called Sophos Home. Like the name says or explained, it's for home usage and for test purposes. If you're sitting in your home environment and you want to have our great product for your home deployment, you can use Sophos Home. It's a free version of the full guard. And you can also manage this within Central. So it's also possible to connect a free home version to Sophos Central and use all the capabilities and the management and the configuration within Sophos Central without having any kind of purchased license. The only license you need to purchase if you want to extend your data is a CFR. Yes.
Perfect, thank you. Next, can you connect a Sophos XG Home Edition to Sophos Central, much like a fully licensed XG?
This is also possible. So we have many community members sitting in their home environments right now because the global situation forces people to work from home, and they love to play with our products in their home environments, and they can also use the complete version of Sophos Central and also connect Sophos Central to their central account. What they have to do is they have to start a free trial, which means that they get 30 days of all our Sophos Central product, our enterprise products, which do not get any bill in the end whatsoever. So if the trial will expire, there will be simply a little note that the trial is now about to expire, but they will not be charged whatsoever on the usage of Central. So simply start a new trial on our website and connect this to your XG home appliance and use all the features. And we love to hear feedback from you if you see something which should be changed or which you would see differently. Simply put a community article about it and put something of your feedback into the community. We love to hear about your feedback.
Great. Just going to ask this because we've had a couple of different types of questions similar to this. Is the Sophos Central license per connected user or per an XG firewall?
The CFR license, so Central, as explained earlier, Central management is completely free. There is no license whatsoever. The CFR license, the firewall reporting license, is connected per 100 gigabyte block. So if you purchase one block, you can give this 100 gigabyte block one firewall. If you have 5 firewalls, you can purchase a minimum of 5 blocks, and you have then 5 advanced firewall reporting, let's put it like that, and each of those firewalls have 100 gigabyte storage. So there is no pool which every firewall can go through. Instead, there's a per firewall reporting license. So you can put it like that, that if you have 5 firewalls, you can extend each firewall with 100 blocks, and each firewall will have 10 terabytes data, which is a lot. Great
Right.
question.
I will just probably close off with just one or two more because I can see there's a couple more admin ones which I can answer. So will the XG settings change when I add to Central?
Great question. There's some kind of confusion right now about the group management. So as I explained in the webinar, the groups will store also the configuration. So if you generate a new group, Central will ask you what to do about this group. So you can generate a new group with configuration with the Sophos recommended configuration. What this means is it's the basic configuration which you get after doing the XG wizard. This is the Sophos recommended configuration. So all the configuration which you get after going through the wizard. You can also do, this is the better approach from my point of view, you can also generate a new group and get the current configuration of one of your firewalls. What this means is you can generate a new group based from one of your firewalls and place in the same process your current firewall which you want to configure via Central in the same group. So what Central will do is it will import all the configuration right now of this firewall and also place the same firewall in the same group, and you can use this group going forward with your configuration. You can change the configuration in this group and it will be automatically pushed to the XG firewall and will be changed on the XG firewall. Great question.
Great, and I will end the live Q&A with this question. How does Sophos secure XG backups which are updated and uploaded to Central?
There is a process, there are different processes of doing a backup right now. So the old story is you can do a backup on your XG firewall, and this backup you can store locally on the XG firewall, which is rather a bad idea, because if the XG firewall fails for whatever reason, you do not have access to your backup because it's stored on the XG firewall. It's some kind of bad scenario, to be honest. What customers did in the past was they sent their backups via email to some of those accounts, or they sent their backup via FTP to some server. But there's a big downside. If you create a backup in XG Firewall right now in the web admin, you have to generate a backup password, which increases the security of those backups, of course. But many customers, which we see, forgot their password, which they used on this backup. So what this means is they have a collection of backups from the past, let's say 2 years, but they don't know their password anymore. So actually those backups are useless for them. And what they need is a way to store those backups securely without the backup password. And exactly that is central backup management. The backup management in Central will encrypt the data with some mechanisms and send them to Central. And Central will encrypt them as well and will not use any of those passwords. Instead, it will encrypt them in a secure manner in Central. And if the administrator needs this backup right now because some incident is happening, he needs to replace this XG firewall, Central will ask in this moment the administrator to place a new password for this particular backup to export it. So it's a perfect solution for this situation of having a backup but having do not have a password right now, because Sophos cannot give you the password of your backups anymore, because it will be mean that the backup is not secured in a secure manner. So always use Central as an add-on for the backup management. And if you have an incident, which I hope you do not in the future, but if you have one, you can use the backup and give this backup a particular password, which you can immediately restore with the same password. Great question.
Great. Thank you so much, Luca, for helping us with the live Q&A. Obviously, with today's recording, it was a pleasure to get these across to you. So I'm just going to go over a couple of reminders for those who potentially may not have been with us at the start of the session. So today's recording session has been recorded, and it will be posted on our event page within 24 hours. This recording, along with all the other sessions 1 and 7, are all available on our events page. For those who may not have the link, please feel free to ask for it in the Q&A and we can send you the URL directly, or the link is events.sophos.com/EMEA XG Academy. And as you can see from the example on the right hand side, if you just scroll down to the page and click on the green watch on demand, and you'll be able to have access to any of the sessions that you did miss. As Luca also did mention, tomorrow is our final session of the XG Firewall Academy, and we are looking at the future of XG Firewall, where we have Senior Product Manager Chris McCormack giving us all the latest and updates that's coming with XG Firewall product. As well as that, we'll be joined back with live Q&A, so please do feel free to come back and join us with any questions that we can happily address for you in the session. Live Q&A has now closed, but please feel free to answer your questions in the Q&A panel for the remaining 5 minutes that we have left in this webinar. Thank you once again for joining us, and we look forward to welcoming you back to our final session of the XG Firewall Academy. Thank you and take care. Thank you for those who have joined us live and still on with us now. The webinar is now closing. So once again, feel free to post any final questions, anything that we haven't addressed today. We will get back to you as soon as possible via our Q&A form, which will be available after the webinar series. Thank you, take care, and we look forward to welcoming you back to our final session tomorrow.